Oh my god, it's Monday. I have to make this video really quick because I'm sort of taking a break from my physics homework to do this. Anyways, first things first. Black ring, you were very close. Not really. You picked up on the right clue, but it was completely false. It basically means that I'm asexual, and we can probably go into that later when I don't have like a thing to talk about, because this video has a main thing that I'm going to talk about in it. So Saturday was our Science Olympiad States competition, which I talked about Science Olympiad a lot. The States competition was Saturday. I had to wake up at 4. My dog woke me up at 2:30, which I wasn't happy about. 5:30 we left, and we had a 2-hour, that was my duct tape, we had a 2-hour bus ride up to the University of Orlando, up to Orlando to the University of Central Florida. It was really cool. The campus is amazing. There's like, the architecture is amazing. There are all these like plants. There's bamboo, and I forgot my camera, so I can't actually show you, but I can talk about it. The first bus ride was pretty fun, except we were all really tired. To start off with, I was sitting next to my friend Bernie. I was gonna sit alone, but then Bernie sort of like sat himself next to me, and I was like, "What are you doing? Go away." This is the same guy that moans a lot. You can see why I didn't necessarily want him sitting next to me. That being said, he's still one of my really good friends. My friend Amara sat in front of us, and then my science teacher sat across from Bernie and I, so he could keep an eye on Bernie, for obvious reasons. And then Bernie was saying how we should sing bus songs, and my science teacher was like, no. And I was just like, but my friend's idea of bus songs is any song from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Needless to say, that ended up with me playing the time warp on my phone and my teacher and I singing to it. It was very interesting. My teacher and I also came up with Bernie truths, which is basically 50% truth and 50% lie, and if you knew my friend Bernie, you would know why this made sense. I tried to get that trending on Twitter, but it didn't actually work. And I had a baby picture with my teacher, and he cheated because he only voted for his daughter. Not fair. We should have had another judge. I didn't think of that because it was early and I was tired. At UCF, I was obsessing over the architecture, and then Bernie yelled at me for obsessing over the architecture, and then the other science teacher, Mr. Myers, was like, UCF is known for its architecture, and I opened my mouth to say something, and Bernie was just like, shut up. My team only had one word we placed, and it was dynamic planning, I believe, and we placed 3rd out of 54 students. My events that I were in, I placed 10th, 12th, and 42nd. I'm really happy about the 10th and 12th. The 42nd is just gonna go deep into the recesses of my mind that will never ever be opened again. I somehow got conned into buying Bernie a smoothie and part of his dinner, and I was like, what the heck, man, this is supposed to be the other way around, because we had to like run all around like this campus. We had to, like, no matter what building we were in, we had to run back, get this paper from my teacher, get whatever box had all our stuff in it, and then run back to the room where our event was. And this especially sucked for aquifers because we had to carry the heavy aquifer box, and then we had to run up 2 flights of stairs, plus we got lost, plus we went down the wrong hallway. Then we finally found the right hallway, got it all done. That was the event we placed 10th in, by the way. And then we ran all the way back, but we got lost, and we almost walked off the campus, which would have sucked. Then we were free to roam around until about 4, and my friend Amara was taking pictures of stuff because she was really interested in the architecture as well. Plus, there was like these little cool things that you can only see in the college. Like, someone wrote soap on a window in soap, and everyone thought it was just cool enough to leave it there. So there is on a mirror in UCF, or on a window in UCF, on the 3rd floor of the engineering building, a window that says soap on it, and I didn't take a picture of it because I didn't have my camera. All the 6th graders were trying to get my science teacher, whose name was Mr. Scoya, they were trying to get his phone number, and I don't know why, they were just being weird. And then the bus ride home, which was probably my favorite part of the day, it started off really normal. Bernie, Mr. Scoya, Mara, and I were in the same seats we were in on the bus ride there, and then Mr. Scoya told us all to call our parents, and I was just like, my phone died, so he asked if I wanted to use his because he knew my mom would freak out. So I did, and I called my mom, and then all I could think of as I was giving him his phone back was that it took me about 4 seconds to do what the 6th graders were trying to do all day. For any of the 6th graders, if you're watching this, I have Mr. Squee's cell phone number now. What now? Then Mr. Squee moved, and then Bernie, Amara, and I started switching seats just because we were bored and we had nothing better to do. Bernie had a laser pointer, and I was told to take it away from him. So I tried, and I reached over the seat, and the first time, my friend Julia was also trying to help me, and I had my hand on it, but he had a better grip, and then he threatened to lick my hand, and I didn't believe him, and then he actually licked my hand, and I was like, what are you doing? Needless to say, he kept the laser pointer for a while, and then the second time I tried to take it, the bus driver hit a bump, and my finger sort of ended up in his mouth, and all I could think was fired up, for reasons you'll understand if you've ever seen fired up. And then after it got dark, he kept scaring me. The only time I really remember what he did, he like crawled under my seat and jabbed his fingers into my side, and I like screamed, grabbed my side, and jumped. And then I saw Mara was laughing hysterically, and I looked down, and Bernie was laughing with just like his head on the back seat. And then I started laughing because I realized what was going on, and was like, how stupid am I? Bernie got really hyper, and for some reason took my hand and started licking it. And then he did it, and then I finally wrestled my hand away, and then he did it again, but he licked from like my wrist to about there, which was just weird. Then I was laying down, and my head was hanging off the seat because I was really tired, and he came over and sat on my stomach and started bouncing, and then finally he let me sit up, and then came back over and sat on my lap and started bouncing. And I told my friend this and how uncomfortable it was, and she's like, how did your teacher not notice anything? And then I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, that's really awkwardly inappropriate. And I'm like, I just meant that it was uncomfortable because he was hurting my knee by bouncing on it. We were all pretty much on the verge of tears that entire bus ride. It was hysterical. I will see you tomorrow.